Folks, as I record this video, it's Thursday, November the 28th. So to the American folks on my channel, happy Thanksgiving. To everyone else, happy Thursday. American Thanksgiving is typically used in the National Hockey League to determine who's in and who's out in the playoff picture. Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman is popularly credited with noticing the trend. And since about 2000, roughly about 80% of the teams who are in a playoff spot as of American Thanksgiving end up making the playoffs. So by this point, it's not a hot start. It's not, a favorable schedule. It's kind of what teams are at this point. So given that we're at American Thanksgiving in the 24-25 season, and the Calgary Flames are against all odds in a playoff spot, we thought we'd take a look at some recent history in terms of what teams make it, what teams don't, general trends for the last few years, and how it looks for the Flames' chances at making the Stanley Cup playoffs in the 24-25 season. So let's dive in. So for this analysis, I've chosen to just look at the past 5 non-COVID seasons. So we're looking at 17-18, 18-19, 21-22, 22-23, and 23-24. We are throwing out 19-20 because the season wasn't completed, and we're throwing out 20-21 because it was that weird regional divisional one where you're only playing within your division. It's not really that fair to hold it against teams, so we'll just throw that out. So let's start with 17-18. In 2018, the following teams were in a playoff spot as of Thanksgiving 2017: Tampa, Toronto, Detroit, Columbus, New Jersey, the Islanders, Pittsburgh, Washington, and in the West, St. Louis, Winnipeg, Nashville, Vegas, Los Angeles, Calgary, Vancouver, and San Jose. The following teams did not make it from that group: Detroit, the Islanders, St. Louis, Calgary, and Vancouver. So 5 of 16 didn't make it. That was a rough one. Now let's dive into 18-19. Here's the playoff teams as of Thanksgiving in 2018. Tampa, Toronto, Buffalo, Columbus, the Rangers, Washington, Boston, Montreal, Nashville, Minnesota, Winnipeg, Calgary, San Jose, Anaheim, Colorado, Dallas. From that group, Buffalo, Montreal, the Rangers, Minnesota, and Anaheim didn't make it. Again, 5 teams. Let's jump ahead to 21-22. This is Thanksgiving 2021. Here's your playoff teams: Florida, Toronto, Tampa, Carolina, Washington, the Rangers, Columbus, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, St. Louis, Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton, Vegas, Anaheim, Colorado. Who didn't make it? Well, Columbus, Winnipeg, Vegas, and Anaheim. Let's jump ahead to 2022-23. Here, as of Thanksgiving 2022, are your playoff teams: Boston, Toronto, Detroit, New Jersey, the Islanders, Carolina, the Rangers, and Tampa, Dallas, Colorado, Winnipeg, Vegas, Seattle, Los Angeles, Calgary, and St. Louis. Who didn't make it? Detroit, Calgary, and St. Louis. And finally, from last season, 23-24, Thanksgiving 2023's playoff teams: Boston, Florida, Tampa, the Rangers, Washington, Carolina, Toronto, Detroit, Dallas, Colorado, Winnipeg, Vegas, Vancouver, Los Angeles, and St. Louis and Seattle. Last season, Detroit, Seattle, and St. Louis did not make it. Again, 3. So if you look at the general trends here, of the last 5 seasons, 80 teams combined were in playoff spots in Thanksgiving. 20 of them, 1 in 4, missed the playoffs. Now, if you're thinking, oh, man, divisional teams, though, those are the guys who are really good. The wildcard teams come and go. What about just the divisional teams? So if you look at just the divisional teams, that's 60 teams in playoff spots as of Thanksgiving. Of that 60, 11 missed. So, yeah, 75% of the teams that are in any playoff spot as of Thanksgiving make it. When you focus just on the teams in divisional playoff spots, that jumps up to about 82%. So your chances jump up a bit if you're in a divisional spot. Now, as of Thanksgiving 2024, Here's your playoff picture: Toronto, Florida, Boston, Carolina, New Jersey, Washington, New York Rangers, and Tampa, Winnipeg, Minnesota, Dallas, Vegas, Calgary, Los Angeles, Colorado, and Vancouver. So statistics suggest that 4 of those teams will miss the playoffs if they're following on average. Now, the big question is, which of these teams will fall out? Now, I'm a big fan of Dom LeSession's work over at The Athletic, and there's a lot of folks like Dom who are doing really good stats-based work. And so Dom does his playoff projections, and he updates them pretty much daily. And as of Thanksgiving Day, the following teams are the most likely to fall out. In the East, it was Boston. They have a 40% chance of making the playoffs based on Dom's projections. And in the West, it's Calgary with a 27% chance. The 2 teams outside the playoff picture with the highest chances of making it in for the West was Edmonton with a 96% chance. And I can hear you. Should it be 97% chance because of Connor McDavid? Haha. But yeah, that's probably one of the reasons why it's so high, even though they're not even in a wild card spot. And in the East, it's the New York Islanders with a 51% chance. If you're familiar with the Calgary Flames, you'll know that they've never really had strong odds of making the playoffs this year. The betting markets had them 6th from last in terms of the odds of qualifying for the playoffs before the season. That sort of persisted throughout the season. Their odds have gotten better, but not great. Over at The Athletic, as mentioned, Dom LeSession has them at 27% chance of making the playoffs. Hockey Viz has them around 50%. The Money Puck has them just under 50%. So even with them being in a postseason spot as of Thanksgiving, and even with them being, flirting with the division lead, they're 3 points out as we're recording this, 3 points behind Vegas for the top spot in the Pacific. They're not really widely expected to make the playoffs. They might hang around. And part of that is just how they've won. Their best player right now is a rookie goaltender named Dustin Wolf. And he and Dan Vladar have been spectacular in that, really papering over a lot of the holes in the Flames lineup. The Flames aren't a bad team. They're a team with a lot of depth, throughout the position, but they don't really have anyone that's really, someone that can be a difference maker and steal games for them outside of their goaltenders, who have been keeping them in games and allowing them to get late goals at key times and win in rather dramatic fashion. So if you're thinking, ooh, I'm going to think that the Flames are going to make the playoffs, you're probably betting that goaltending keeps up and they can keep finding weird ways to win. And, considering their power play hasn't been very good, considering their penalty kill hasn't been very good, and considering they've been struggling to score at 5-on-5, yeah, maybe their odds bounce back. They get a bit more production at 5-on-5. They get a bit more production on the power play, and they just score more in general. But you're also betting that the goaltending holds up. And, the general trend is, you don't have everything clicking all at once. And so if your goaltending's working, then that's probably because something else isn't working. And so if your goaltending stops working, odds are that's because something else has started working. And so if you're a Flames optimist, you're betting that enough things hold together that they can get close and then eke their way in. And if you're a Flames doomsayer, so to speak, you're thinking that at some point the wheels will fall off, and Dustin Wolf and Dan Vladar won't look amazing all season. They'll just look pretty good. And the difference between, the Flames getting amazing goaltending with everything else performing as is, and the Flames getting pretty good goaltending, could be quite a bit. It almost definitely would be the difference between make the playoffs and not. And making the playoffs, even with strong goaltending, is no guarantee. If they get a little bit worse defensively, a few other things stop working for them. They just flat out won't make it. So, the fact that we're having this conversation 23 games into the first year of a rebuild is kind of nuts. And I think it speaks to how well the Flames have managed to put together a team concept that allows them to sort of, for lack of a better term, outkick their coverage. They're punching above their weight, whatever metaphor you want to use. They've managed to play and beat good teams and play and give very good, very difficult evenings to some good teams because of the way they've managed to build their team and their systems and their team concept. So, if they don't make it, I don't think you can take anything away from them, because if they don't make it, folks will look at the odds and go, they overperformed. They made it close. And if they do make it, then folks will go, holy cow, we thought they'd be sixth from last, and they managed to make it in. That's kind of cool. And again, I'm on record of going, don't worry too much about draft picks right now. Worry about what the on ice product means for the future. And if you're trying to build a group to be a championship team in the future, you kind of want to build a foundation, and at least the on-ice foundation in terms of habits and sort of systems, in terms of coaching, in terms of a lot of the things you want to have to hold together a good team, they're starting to be formed. And they're also being buttressed by some very good goaltending. And, as the old saying goes, if you have goaltending, you have a lot. And right now the Flames got goaltending. So we'll see if that holds up. But yeah, right now, Flames, as of Thanksgiving 2024, are in a playoff spot. And they, based on the historical math of the last 5 years, have an 82% chance of remaining in a playoff spot based on history. And so, sure, some of the prognosticators might give them a much lower chance of making the playoffs than that, but that's why they play the game. So we'll see how things unfold over the remaining 59 games of the regular season. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please click like. If you really like this video, please click subscribe. And feel free to jump into the comments, share your thoughts, and any other topics you'd like me to do videos on. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.